Good morning, Canadian Yarn Horde. My name's Alyssa, and today what we are going to do is just a quick project video. I have these two little cute Halloween coin purses. So they do open up, and you can put coin or a key or some little memento that you have in. So I'm going to move you over to the overhead cam and we'll get started. Oh, and I should mention, Salem is right behind me. Willow's just over in the chair over there. You can't see him, but I'm sure he'll come over. So I'm going to move you over to overhead cam and I'll be right back. So I used this one. I just used any regular red heart. I got it in a used store, so I don't know exactly what it was for this one. This one was a red heart super saver in the big ball. I'm more willing to use a little more of a cheaper quality yarn. I hate to say that, but a cheaper quality yarn for something of this nature. However, I do have this Cascade Yarns Cherub Orion. So it is 55% nylon and 45% acrylic. I got this at True North Yarn Company. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. It has a US 7 or 8 or a 4.5 or a 5 millimeter. So that would probably be for a hook or a needle. I'm going to use a 4 for this. I do hope this works. I haven't tried this yarn, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to make the pumpkin first, and then I will show you how to make the tombstone. Sure, everything's in sight. We're going to make a magic circle and chain 2, just like that. And if you want to see that again, you just take the yarn, wrap around your finger, bring it under the loop, put your hook through, go 1, 2, and then 6 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to tighten up. Oh, I did that the wrong way. I didn't get a center pull. Oh well. Pull the label off. And we'll just do this. It's a very quick project. So you're just going to go into the first loops there. And you're going to bring it in through. And then you just bring it through. So 1, 2. This row you're going to increase at each stitch, and that is how you just do 1 stitch and then 2 stitches, and then the next one you do 1 stitch and 2 stitches. You are just increasing in single crochet. 1 stitch, 2 stitch, and you do that all the way across. So 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 1 stitch, and 2 stitch. Now here you're going to grab that again right at the back, grab your yarn, pull through both loops. Now what I like to do, if you're a returning viewer, you will know I'm going to darn in my tail because I truly hate tails. They get in the way. This particular project with a magic circle start will unravel if you do not tighten your tail in. So it's a very good thing to do. So you're just going to go around. I like to go around the first 6 stitches that you have. So just keep going around. Pull it and then you go through again, and you pull it and you go through. And by the time you get around, you will have a nice tight circle. And your tail will be nicely darned in. So you just keep going in. Oh, I think I have the camera a little bit too loaded, so lift it up a bit higher. see if that'll work better for my hands. And you just keep turning in the ends until you get it tight where you want it. You make sure you give a good pull, and then you're going to trim that off. And that is how you darn in your first end, if you, like I said, are a new viewer. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate it. If you are a returning viewer, I very much appreciate you showing up. Oops. So that is a stitch. I do not want to do that stitch. We are doing single crochets here. So you're going to do one single crochet, and then you're going to increase. And you do that all the way across. And that is just 2 stitches and 1 again. So 1 stitch, then your increase. And you can do that all the way to the end. 1 and 2. Now you are going to have to make 2 of these circles. That will be how you make it. So I will show you how to make the first one. I will probably come back and then I'll show you how to sew it up together. It's an increase. 1, increase. And 1, and increase. And then you're going to slip stitch this last part. You go through and pull it through both of them. And then chain 2 again. Now you're going to do this yarn. 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 5 rows, so I'm going to do that again. You're going to continue increasing and having a stitch in between each one. So this one's row 2, and then you increase 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then increase 1, 2, increase 1, 2, increase 1, 2, increase. And I would like to say I would love to earn your like and subscription. I would love to hear from you and any questions, comments, or concerns you have below. I would love to know when you crochet, what time you crochet. I have a few, I guess there's surveys out. Now you finish that row off, and now we're going to do 3 stitches in between each increase. So 1, 2, 3, and then increase. And 1, 2, 3, increase. And I'm going to continue that all the way around, and I'm going to continue doing this until, like I said, 2 more rows. So you'll have 5 stitches in between each increase. I will be back in a minute, and I will show you pretty much. I will have the second circle because I know for a fact that after I get the 5 increases, that it's not a major deal to, you're almost done basically when you have the second circle. So I'm going to do this, finish this one off. I will quickly make the second one, and then when I come back, I will show you how to sew them together and finish them off. So I will be back in a minute, and I'll see you in a sec. So I have the 2 pieces done. You're going to hold them together. I like to put both the bottoms together. I've got one darned up with the needle, and you're just going to come down and you're going to just sew around the edges. Now, I'm not going to take that tail off just until I know I've gotten it sewn up. So you just grab the 4 loops and you go back and forth with the 4 loops. And you also want to remember to leave a gap at the top. So you're just going to keep going back and forth. I will come back down and I will redo it and just, yeah, right about there. So I'm going to come back down now and sew all the way back down. Actually, no, I want to keep going up to about that one. So I'm going to put there and right there. So I'm going to keep coming up until I hit that spot. And then I will come back down and re-stitch it the other way. Just want to make sure my hands are in. So you just want to keep going back and forth, sewing this up. And this would be great for a kid's key. So if they wanted to have a house key, if you wanted to put little treats around the house for Halloween for your child, you could put a little treat or two in here at the end of their bed or on their doorway or whatever you wanted to do. You could give them a little treat bag, just a tiny little one for your own kids. You could do it for the Halloween trick-or-treaters. I do a much bigger bag. I will do that later on. I will show you how I make my trick-or-treat bags. And then I fill them up with full-size chocolate bars and little toys and crafts and games. And I go all out for Halloween. The kids, we don't get many, and I always grab so much more than we need. But I know that the kids who come to my house love my house because we, like I said, I grab the big full chocolate bars. And so I make a bigger bag, but you could easily grab a couple of gummies or smaller candies if you wanted to just, and then have these little bags to hand out for treat bags. You could do different colors. You could do white, purple. You could do turquoise to make sure that they had no nuts in it or anything. You could do all kinds of stuff like that. Now you're going to go on to the other side. And I want to go right to about, right about there. So I'm going to put the stitch marker in right here, here. And we are going to keep sewing up this side. Double that because it looked like there was still a hole there. And you just keep going. And then, as I said, you could, if you have a Halloween tree, you could put these on as Halloween decorations. If you have, I guess, a wreath or, I can't think of the word of what they're called, but you get a bunch of leaves and you'll hang them in a doorway with not tinsel, but the other one with the leaves. You could do one of them. Garland, that's the word. So I do apologize. Some words just escape me. And there's not much I can do about it. And I'm just going to do this. And then we're just going to double back and go back down just to make sure the seam does not come undone on you. And you're just going to go backwards. Take that off. And now you just need a little bit of gray. And when I say a little bit, I mean truly just a tiny little bit of gray. I think I actually went with brown on that one. And the only brown I have is this wool I have beside me. So I'm going to use it. And that's just because I left my gray downstairs or my brown downstairs for another project I'm working on. I'm just going to keep sewing down. Almost there. Is that? Go. I'm not going to worry too much about those last few stitches. I should probably go up with this one. And just fill them in, making sure that they have just a little bit of thread going through them so that way that you don't have the seam come undone on you. I have to say I'm very grateful that the construction is quiet today. If you've seen my daily updates, I know this will come out before Halloween. I have been having bridge construction 2 houses down, actually 1 house down It's in between the first and the second house on our road. We're the third house, so they're actually quiet today, so it's a good day to get a video done. So I'm going to trim both of those now. So now you have the general pocket. So what you want to do now is you want to take the crochet hook and you want to just go in at the top spot. Now for this gray, I have, it's called Bundle Up. It's just beside me because it was just a quick yarn I had beside me. And it's gray. Oh, I was going to use the wool, that's right, because it's brown. That might work. I was going to use the Bundle Up beside me. I forgot. And I was going to use this brown. Here's this fisherman's wool. I do have a project with it coming out probably in November. I'm trying to work on more wools so that you have an idea of how well it can keep your hands warm. Because for me, winter, my hands. 5. And then you're going to come down and you're going to do that. So if you can notice, you've got a little bit of a loop there. I am going to trim that off, and we're going to do it on the front as well. So you're going to have 2 of these. This one, I'm going to just do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want this one a little bit taller. And that's so it can go around. You want to make sure it can go through this one. And there you have it. There's the front of yours. I'm just going to darn those in so you can see what it looks like all darned up. So this is the first one that we're going to do today. Now I'm going to come down here because I want to just tighten that up, making it a little bit tighter so that you won't lose it. There's that. So we can trim that now. Trim that. Trim that one. As I said, we're just going to tie this in. So you could put a little curly Q on it, but I didn't want to mess it up, make it a little mussy too much because I wanted it a nice, clear, clean look for the pumpkins. So there's that. It's a little bit smaller because this is a thinner yarn. But yet again, as I said, you should be able to fit some coins in there. You should be able to fit a key in there. So I'm going to pause for a second so I can get myself ready to do the tombstone. I'll be back in just a sec. So as I said, I am going to be using this Bundle Up yarn that is gray. The reason I wanted to do 2 different styles is because that one was circular, as you can see, and this one won't be. So this one we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You want 12 single crochets on there because you're going to turn and then you're going to go single crochet in the 3rd from the hook, and you're just going to go all the way down. Now for this one, you're just going to do how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of just single crochet. So you're just going to do the same thing as this first row. So 1. As you can see, the single crochets are coming across nicely. And then you're going to chain 2, turn, and single crochet in the second one from the chain. And you're going to just do this for 5 full rows. I will be back when I'm done those 5 rows and I'll show you what to do next. So I just did 5 rows and I realize I'm nowhere near it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do about double that. So I'm going to do 10 rows just because this is a different yarn than I started with. So it's one of those things that you can't always predict when you use a thinner yarn that you don't necessarily realize is a lot thinner. This is why gauges are so important. It is easy, like I said. So if the red heart, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 rows. So I'm going to have to do 10 because this one is a little bit smaller. And I will come and show you that when I'm done. So I just wanted to show that 5 was not enough because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you can see, we are not close yet. So I'm going to have to do more. So I will be back in a minute and I'll show you then. So I've got my 10 rows. So this one, you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then you're going to single, single, and then do 2 together. Now that is a decrease. I'm going to go back and I'll show you again. So you've got your chain 2, go in, wrap, pull, in, wrap, pull, and then do them both together. Now you're going to go to the end of the row, 2, 3 to the last 2 stitches, 4, 5, so that should leave you with 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and you do the same thing at the beginning. Now you're going to go 1 and 2, and you're going to do that again, 1, 2, so you're decreasing yet another one. So 1, 2, 3, pardon me, and then 1 and 2, and you do it again, and I'm going to do that one more time. So, chain 2, 1, 2, nope, not that one, 1 and 2, 1, and then 1 and 2, and there you have it. There's your tombstone shape. Now I am going to make a second one, so when I come back I will have the second one made. We'll sew them up and I'll put on the RIP. So I will show you how to finish them off in just a second. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to do the RIP. So we're just going to come out, and there's a reason I'm doing the RIP before I finish it. I did do that the first time. I didn't think about it and I did it. I finished it and then I had to fight to get the RIP in there. So this will make life a lot easier for you if you think to do this. It can work if you don't. I've done it. But it is better to just try and get it this way so you can really get the RIP the way you want it. I just want to get that tail out of there. So there's that. Come out like an R. So 1, 2, and I'm going to do 1 more, 3. So then I do have to actually trim it off because of the way it's done. So then I'm just going to go in there for the R, I. So we're just coming out, and I'm going to go up. I don't think that's placed right. And move it just one more. So I move it over one more. And then you just go R. This one's the easy one. This one's just an I. Up. And then you come in and you go P. Just go up for the P. And then you're going to be on the edge here. So you're just going to follow the edge. Just go in there. Pull it. There we go. So now I'm just going to take my ends and I'm going to darn them in, and then I'm going to show you how to sew it up, and that will be that today. So there's the eye. Like I said, it's so easy to do. Just going to come through that. So I'm just gonna, oop. There we go. So we can turn the black now. So we got the black all worked in. Ooh. Gonna work on that. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold these two together. I'm gonna flip that back one so I have one on one side and one on the other, as you can see. So I'm going to take this one and we're just gonna, actually I did do one thing with this after I sewed it up. On that particular one, I went around the outsides and I did the same thing I did for the Halloween coasters. I just went around the outside on it. So I will show you how I did that, just to give it a bit more of a border. But you can just as easily leave it here. As I said, I liked the look of the actual border going around. So you're just going to keep working this in. And I do have to say, I would love to hear from you in any likes or in any comments you have below. I do hope to earn your subscription. I would love to earn it. I do love hearing from my viewers, and any questions, comments, even if you want to say hi. I love the interaction. It lets me know you're out there. It lets me know, I mean, you can give me options. You can tell me if there's a yarn you'd like to work with. You can tell me if there's a project you'd like me to do. I absolutely love all of that. As I said, you're just going to go around, sewing up the edges, and remember to leave a hole. So I'm going to tie these two together just because I like to do that when I come up to another end. Just tie it up. That way you won't lose it. It'll have a much harder time coming undone. And you just go around. And you just keep going around and around. until you make it all the way up to this side. It's right about there. I'm going to do it right there because I want a bit larger so you can get a coin in there. So you do want to be cautious of how small you make the opening, because you do want to make sure you can get something in and you can get it out. You don't want to make it too small that you can't get your fingers in or something. So do be present about that part. So like I said, I'm going to come up right to about where the P is. See that on my end. So you just keep going back and forth. Oh, I think I can trim that. Here we go. Trim that out of the way, which is what I could see. Now I'm going to lock this one into place by doing almost a knot. And then there's a bit more there. So for this one, I actually think I have enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull it through. And you're going to do that. So there's your first loop. And I was able to utilize a tail. Sometimes you can do that if you have a long enough tail. Just going to really make sure you lock this in so it doesn't come undone, because this is your closure. There we go. So I've got that sewed up. I've got that sewed up. So I'm just going to darn in all these ends. And then I will do the one on the back, and I will do the border to show you how I did it in just a second. So there's that tightened. Darn this one up. As you can see, you do get a little bit of ends during this. So darning them up is not a bad thing. Last one darned in. And then, as I said, I'm just going to take darn off those, cut them off so they're not in the way. And then you're gonna go started on the bottom. Just gonna go across bottom. You go fully across. So I'm going to lay that down and go around it and hope that I can work it in, and then I will trim it if it's sticking out at the end. And I find, like I said, this just allows the tombstone to feel a little more complete, a little more finished. And you're also sewing it together, or crocheting it together if you wanted. You didn't necessarily have to sew it. You could do this. But by sewing it and then doing this, this is just a looks thing for me. So I'm not worrying too much if I'm getting it in both sides. And then you want to go around one top here. So you just follow the top line. As I said, you just keep going around. And it just gives it a little more of a finished look. I do like the look of the finishedness, so that's why I do this. And as I said, now you're just kind of reinforcing that seam along the side and the bottom, so you know it will be a good sealed. It won't be coming undone anytime soon. So it is a good thing you can make for someone and give to them, because you know this seam, there's no way this seam is coming undone. You've done it like 2 times with the sewing, and then you've also crocheted it up. Of course, the last one that would happen. So I'm just going to darn that in, and I will show you how to finish the last loop, and we will be done. So just gonna, ooh, that one was squeaky. There we go. That there. Now you're going to come back here to the center, go in, and you're going to do, you want to make sure desperately you do not hit that top loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're just going to sew this in, and we will be done. Too far on that. And then I just like to grab the very first or last loop on the thread, and there you go. So there it is. It's all sewed in. Double it there. And now I'll darn it in. And there you have it. A really cute mini key purse. Something you can put either an extra spare key or a key for a child. If they're putting it in their backpack, you should be able to get it in there. Coins, anything like that. So there's my 2 Halloween coin purses. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye.